MiG-21, the legend of the skies. The MiG-21, a legendary name. It is not only the most widely produced jet fighter in history, but also one of the longest-serving warriors ever built. Designed in the 1950s, the Soviet Union's goal was simple yet ambitious: to create a frontline fighter capable of reaching Mach 2. The result was an icon, a sleek delta-winged jet with a circular air intake and astonishing agility. The MiG-21 embodied the very essence of Soviet air defense strategy: to counter heavier Western aircraft with speed, precision, and lightning-fast strikes. It was the silver arrow, the ghost of speed across the heavens. Chapter 1. The opposition of design. The MiG-21 F-13 was created with one purpose: agility at supersonic speed. It measured just 13.46 meters, 44 feet, 1.9 inches in length, 4 meters, 13 feet, 5.4 inches in height, and weighed only 5,843 kilograms, 12,822 pounds, empty. By comparison, its main rival, the American F-4D Phantom II, was a giant, over 17 meters, 58 feet long, and nearly 13,000 kilograms, 29,000 pounds, empty, more than twice as heavy. This difference in size was the key to its tactics. The airframe was made of aluminum and magnesium alloys, reinforced with steel in high-stress areas. Its semi-monocoque structure provided the perfect balance of strength and lightness. The fuselage was divided into two sections. The front housed the cockpit, wings, fuel tanks, and landing gear, while the rear contained the engine, tail assembly, and exhaust nozzle. The two halves connected at frame 28, an ingenious design that made engine maintenance and removal remarkably easy. The MiG-21's most recognizable feature was its delta wing, swept back at 33 degrees with a total area of 22.95 meters, 247.6 square feet. The wing's main spar and two auxiliary spars ensured rigidity, while its compact body allowed for sharp turns and rapid changes of direction. It could also sustain high angles of attack, a crucial advantage in ambush tactics. Control surfaces were compact and efficient. The ailerons, with a maximum deflection of 20 degrees, were hydraulically powered. Flaps between the ailerons and wing roots provided lift during takeoff and landing, extending up to 24.5 degrees, allowing safe liftoff speeds of just 340 kilometers per hour, 211 miles per hour. At the tail, the MiG-21 F-13 used fully movable horizontal stabilators, enabling smoother control at low speeds and rapid climbs, vital for evasive maneuvers during combat. Chapter 2. The Engine of Speed. The MiG-21 F-13 was a machine built for raw velocity. It could reach 2,174 kilometers per hour, 1,351 miles per hour at 13,000 meters, 42,650 feet, equivalent to Mach 2.05, and about 1,199 kilometers per hour, 745 miles per hour at sea level. Its heart was the Tumansky R11F-300 twin-shaft turbojet. The system featured a 6-stage compressor, 10 combustion chambers, a 2-stage turbine, an afterburner, and an adjustable exhaust nozzle. At full dry thrust, the engine produced 3,900 kgf, 8,598 lbf. But the true secret of its Mach 2 capability lay in the afterburner, injecting additional fuel into the exhaust stream for massive thrust increases. With full afterburner engaged, thrust rose to 5,750 kgf, 12,617 lbf, nearly a 50% boost. This feature was essential for takeoff, dogfights, and sustained supersonic flight. Thanks to its powerful engine and light frame, the MiG-21 could accelerate and climb rapidly, allowing pilots to regain energy and reposition swiftly in battle. The double-edged sword. Fuel system. Power came with a price. The MiG-21 F-13 carried only 2,470 liters, 652 US gallons, of internal fuel, just 1/5 of what the F-4 could hold. Depending on altitude and power settings, flight endurance ranged from 45 minutes to an hour. At low altitude with full afterburner, all fuel could be consumed in under 20 minutes, a ticking bomb in the sky. To extend range, the aircraft could mount an external drop tank beneath the fuselage. Another key feature was the adjustable nose air intake cone, which managed airflow at different speeds. It had 3 positions: retracted, up to Mach 1.5, mid, Mach 1.5 to 1.9, and fully extended above Mach 2.9. This mechanism controlled shock waves and ensured optimal airflow to the engine at supersonic speeds. Chapter 3: Weapons of the Hunter. The MiG-21 F-13's armament was simple yet lethal: one 30mm NR-30 cannon and 2 K-13 R3S infrared-guided missiles. It lacked modern radar. Instead, it used an SRD-5 range-finding radar paired with an ASP-5 NDD optical sight for aiming both gun and missiles. The NR-30 cannon, mounted under the right side of the nose, fired 900 rounds per minute, but carried only 60 rounds, often just 30 to save weight. It was rarely used, as most kills came from missiles. The primary missile was the K-13A R3S, known to NATO as the AA-2 Atoll, a reverse-engineered copy of the American AIM-9 Sidewinder. Though not as homology as United States 1324, it carried an 11-kilogram, 25-pound fragmentation warhead and had a range between 1 and 7.5 kilometers. Its biggest flaw was low infrared sensitivity, forcing pilots to close in from the rear. The Spartan cockpit reflected Soviet simplicity and efficiency. Built for one pilot with a vertical panel holding basic flight instruments, artificial horizon, altimeter, airspeed and Mach indicators, fuel gauge, RPM, and warning lights. Switches line the cockpit sides, many hard to reach, demanding extensive pilot familiarity. Unlike later turquoise green models, the F-13 cockpit was painted in plain gray tones. The throttle sat on the left. The control stick had triggers for gun and missile, trim control, and brake lever. Targeting used the ASP-5 NDD gyro-stabilized gun sight, projecting lead and aiming data onto a clear glass reflector, an early form of a heads-up display. A unique feature was the canopy design. During ejection, the canopy detached and attached to the seat, forming a protective shell for the pilot against high-speed airflow. Chapter 4: The Phantom's Shadow. Vietnam. The MiG-21 F-13 saw its first serious combat in the Vietnam War during Operation Rolling Thunder. Initially, North Vietnamese pilots fought traditional dogfights, similar to MiG-17 tactics, but soon realized these didn't suit the MiG-21's strengths. They adopted a new approach, the ambush tactic. Radar guidance guided pairs of MiG-21s toward enemy formations. Decoy and retreat, the first pair engaged as bait. The killing blow, a third MiG-21 followed several miles behind at low altitude, climbing rapidly when the enemy was distracted. The pilot would lock on to the tail of an enemy jet and strike instantly. The F-4's radar was nose-mounted, so it was nearly impossible to spot a MiG-21 climbing up from behind. The MiG-21's success forced the U.S. to rethink air combat tactics and pilot training. It proved that, with the right strategy, even a smaller, simpler aircraft could dominate the skies. Chapter 5. Landing and Legacy. Landing the MiG-21 required skill and precision. Pilots descended to 500 meters, 1,640 feet, at 450 kilometers per hour, 280 miles per hour, before lowering the gear. Near the runway, they raised the nose about 10 degrees, losing forward visibility and judging altitude by peripheral cues. Touchdown occurred at around 260 to 270 kilometers per hour, 160 to 170 miles per hour. Wheel brakes and a drag chute under the tail slowed the jet rapidly, cutting landing distance dramatically. When introduced, the MiG-21 represented the peak of Soviet aeronautical engineering, equal to its Western counterparts. Though later limited by its small size, restricting radar, fuel, and payload upgrades, it remained a favorite among smaller air forces for its simplicity, affordability, and ease of maintenance. It proved that, with agility and the right tactics, even a small fish could hunt a whale. Known by NATO as the fishbed, the MiG-21 fought in countless conflicts, from the Cuban Missile Crisis to the Indo-Pakistani War and numerous Middle Eastern battles. It stands as a symbol of an era, a lesson in ingenuity, courage, and the art of air combat. Though newer aircraft have long replaced it, the spirit and tactics born from the MiG-21 will forever echo in the skies.